I was highly excited when you said yes to my invitation because I was scared. I was like, oh my gosh, psychologists, they're so busy. She's gonna say no. Maybe she'll say next year. I'm not too sure, but yeah.
But, and that brings me to something else. I'm glad you reached out anyway, despite all those thoughts, because I could have said no.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You couldn't have got the yes had you not asked, right?
That is
So
true.
one of the things that I tell everybody, patients, everybody, that it can't hurt to ask. The worst is going to happen is somebody's going to say no, but then you're right in the same place you were.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So don't feel, don't take it personally if somebody does say no, because I could have been too busy. But I do make time for students because I didn't have, I had a few people,
Mm-hmm.
popped in here and there for me. And again, that's why I ended up going to a program like I did, because one person did tell me, you should go straight for the PhD if you can. Somebody told me that along the way. So I'm very happy to share that whenever I can. So I'm glad you contacted me. I'm glad you didn't listen to your fears and let those stop you. And it's so important for people not to listen to their fears, to go with their spirit. And something said, contact me. You were excited when you saw my name. So something was telling you to contact me.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. And who knows what's going to come from this as we figure out how to share it with other people, right?
Yes, that is so true. And I'm very, very excited about that. Okay, so now a few other questions. Well, now this part is for an assignment, which I was doing.
Oh, this is all part of an assignment? I didn't know.
No, the first part was just for me. The first part, I needed to know how to navigate through grad school because it was, even though it's my first semester and this was a master's degree, I knew grad school would be tough, but I didn't think it would be weirdly competitive because we're being trained to be very empathic. We're being trained to be there for one another, like the vulnerability we share in our clinic, in our labs, because we do have lab 1 and 2 where we learn how to be a client and a counselor at the same time. So yeah. So when it got to the part of applying for internships, first of all, you remember you told me how your faculty, the black one, she was not warm. She was doing trips to Africa and whatnot. Our internship, or my internship coordinator, is almost the same way. Like, she tells you straight up the bat, like, she's cold, she's not warm and fuzzy. And she gave us the internship database, which was appreciated and all, but you would think that would be updated so that we could apply and whatnot. But I called particular places and like, oh, sorry, we're not doing this. Or sometimes there are deadlines and there's not all the information. It's just chaotic a bit. So, and it's so hard to approach her. You would think, okay, you're black, I'm black. Let's do this. Teamwork makes the dream work or something. Yeah, but no, it's not like that at all. And it's frustrating a bit because I would think that for someone, she has her PsyD. So I was like, okay, so you know the struggle, you know how it is like for people of color, because my program in NYU here is a very diverse program. Not in terms of gender, but in terms of like color and I guess sexual orientation as well. It's very diverse. But I don't feel the connection. There's no helping one another. It's a weird competition. It's like, oh, I'll help you, when I get helped as well, kind of thing. So
I think that I've found over the years that basically you could break the people of color that are in this higher ed realm into two. You've got the ones like I try to be, and like I find that most of the Association of Black Psychologists is, that do remember how difficult it was. And so we want to help out. We want to be there. We want to support. And then I think you have the other group that almost feels like, well, it was difficult for me, so why should I make it easier for you?
Yeah.
This is how you have to learn, you have to go through the same kinds of trials by fire, as opposed to me trying to make your trials as simple as possible. It seems to be, that's what you get. And you have to assess as you meet each person. You can't, I think the tendency is for us to want to automatically assume that since this person has this brown skin, they're going to get it and connect. And I think you have to assess each person and kind of figure out which of these two camps do they fall in, and then treat them accordingly. Because the reality is, not everybody, for whatever reasons, not everybody is willing to share their time and stuff. But again, don't stop asking, because somebody is going to, you'll eventually find somebody that is willing to talk. So don't stop asking.
And I'm very grateful that you did, and you're willing to talk. Thank you very much for your time. What is your theoretical orientation?
What is my theoretical orientation?
Yes.
I have to probably say it's eclectic.
Okay.
Although it's now been more spiritual, and, spiritual psychology, positive psychology.
What do you see as the negatives and positives of the counseling field?
What do I see as a negative? Oh, that's easy. Insurance. Insurance is the biggest challenge that I see. That there's, even although in many ways Obamacare improved things, and we can't even go into what may happen with that.
Yeah.
Even then, I still found that everybody had coverage, but it doesn't necessarily didn't necessarily mean that they had coverage that they could use. So they might still have a $3,000 deductible, so that they couldn't necessarily afford to come in and use up the deductible before they were covered. So they still might not get the services they need.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that I know of that are psychologists don't want to accept insurance. And yet there are so many people who need therapy that can only go if they use their insurance. So I feel like there's a big mismatch there that makes things really challenging. So that's the biggest negative. The biggest positive is watching somebody grow. Working with people who will come in unhappy and struggling, and being a part of their growth, and knowing that although they might have been able to do it alone, that your intervention, your assistance, your support has helped them move through it faster, smoother. Being a part of that it's just a wonderful thing.
That's amazing. The growth of an individual. There are many people who grow in numbers, but not necessarily.
Exactly.
Okay, so this other question says, what are the deficits and the assets that you see in your current position of employment? I know you have a
self-employed. The asset is I love working for myself. Deficit, after 17 years of doing individual therapy, I'm getting a little burnt out working one-on-one with people. As much as I just said, I enjoy seeing them grow. And some of that is the insurance issue. I think that struggling around, getting paid and all that can be a challenge. But at this point, after doing this work in this way and so long, I really want to have a bigger impact. I want to help more people than I think I can do individually.
So do you need to have a license for that? I remember you said you took an exam from your master's to the PhD though.
From the master's to the PhD, it depends. These days there are all these different degrees. But yeah, you need to be fully licensed in whatever your degree is, in order to be able to reap the most benefits. And in order to get most jobs, you need to be licensed.
That is very true. You need a driver's license for an entry-level job. So that is true. But how is the process for that, other than the exam?
The exam, and then you had to submit work to the licensing board so that they knew about your internship. Being clinical psychology in some ways made it easy, because clinical psychology is APA regulated, so that my internship was APA approved and my program was APA approved. So that made some of the submitting stuff easy, and then just taking the exam. But that was all I had to do.
Yeah. And you took the exam twice?
Nope. I took the exam to go from master's level to PhD level in graduate school twice.
Okay.
The actual licensing exam to be a licensed clinical psychologist, I only took once. I studied 3 months nonstop because I was determined to pass that the first time.
Wow, 3 months nonstop? Okay.
Yeah, all the time studying, listening to tapes. You remember tapes? We actually had recorder. Listening to tapes on the train, reading notes on the train, listening to tapes while I was washing dishes, reading the books and taking the practice exams. 3 months of intense studying to pass that test.
Wow. But wait, I remember you said you also had a daughter.
Yes, I did have a
How
dog.
did you manage that?
I don't know. Well, she went to bed. I made sure she went to bed on time at night because
Okay.
I know a lot of stuff I would do. Like I was working on my dissertation when she was little, when she was a baby.
Okay.
I made sure she went to bed on time every night. And then after she went to bed, I'd exercise for a half an hour and then I'd work on my dissertation. So yeah, that's a lot of time, good time management.
That's amazing. That is amazing time management.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow. So wait, but did you decide? I remember you said you decided to have a baby, but was it decided while you were in the program, or did it happen sort of kind of unexpectedly, or did you get married
I
before?
was I was married. I got married my first year in the program, and I had my daughter. I guess it was before internship. So I had her. She was 2 when I went on internship, and I think she just turned 3 or was going to turn 3 when I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So I had her later in the program.
Whoa. How do people do? It's
How
one
do
of the
people do
things
it?
I can't wrap my head around because I'm like, wait, you have so much to do. I remember going to one of these seminars or talks in my undergrad, and um, the presenter was talking about how you need to work on your dissertation every day, you need to be on top of your research. So I'm like, but how do you guys have kids? How do you guys even meet someone? Do you even have a life? What?
Oh, you have to make choices. Yeah, my first husband I met in high school, so I didn't have to go meeting anybody because I married him when I started graduate school.
Oh, wow.
And as far as having a daughter, it was definitely about using time well and figuring out how to best use my time. When she was taking a nap, I might be working on something. Definitely getting her to bed on time so I could work after she went to sleep. But I also found it was a nice balance that I got to do something that wasn't all intellectual. So I found I liked the balance.
That is some amazing balance. Who is or was the best role model of ethical practice for you in your career, and how did they teach you or influence you?
For ethical practice.
Ooh, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess the couple psychologists that I work with, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the teaching was through conversations about issues with patients, and the people that were my supervisors during, those ethical issues came up all the time when you're talking to your supervisor. So
Mm-hmm.
between supervisors and mentors, and
Mm-hmm.
just talking about it.
Wow. Okay. Um. Now, the second part says, has there ever been an ethical issue that this practicing has that you've confronted while you practice or while you've been practicing?
Um, I'm sure there have been. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Um, One of the things I think that happens a lot that is kind of on the border of ethical issues is when you are a Black psychologist, and for a while I had my practice in Bed-Stuy where
Mm-hmm.
I lived also. And so you might see patients in the community. And so just being mindful of that,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about that, and sometimes talking to them about the fact that, we live in the same community, we might see each other. This is what I'm going to do. If I see
Mm-hmm.
you, I will acknowledge you. I'll say hello, but I'm not going to go
Engage in it.
beyond that. That's up to you. So those kinds of things have come up, but I can't think of any other major ethical issues that have come up off the top of my head right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I think it's always important to have, like, my best friend is also a psychologist.
Oh.
So I have somebody as a sounding board. If I'm concerned about anything, somebody that I can talk to talk it out. And then the liability insurance I have. Oh, this is one.
Oh.
I just thought of one because I was mentioning the liability insurance because I called them about it. One of my specialties now is domestic violence. And I was approached to promote a product that was around, it was different things that women's products for safety. So like an alarm you could put on your keychain and, those kinds of things. And I was very excited about the opportunity because I was interested in selling those things, and I thought perfect market. because I'm working with people who have survived domestic violence, right? I called up though and talked to the insurance company and they said, you can't do that. As an expert, you have a lot of influence on people. So it's not ethical for you to associate yourself with those kinds of products. And that's something that I would have never thought, but I had the insurance and that's what they're there for. It's a free service from the liability insurance. It serves their purpose because they're going to have fewer issues if they're willing to have somebody for free talk to you through ethical issues before you go ahead and do something. So they're available for that. So no, I'm not selling self-defense products. No.
Wow. I didn't know that would have been, that's interesting. I would have never thought that would be an issue.
Exactly. You wouldn't think that would be an issue, but it's good to, if you're not sure, to check.
Wow. Okay. So what type of resources do you access when considering how to manage an ethical dilemma? I remember you said you had a best friend that you talked to.
So between my best friend and then the insurance company, they have a free line that you can call to set up an appointment to speak to somebody, depending on what your ethical issue is. And they'll talk you through all the ethical possibilities there.
Okay. So do they use a certain manual or?
They have experts who very often they are people who are trained in psychology and the law, or have some other training in these ethical issues, so that they have expertise to help you work through those issues.
That's psychology and the law. Is that something? When you went to grad school, that's something you had to take as well, or was it an elective, or?
We definitely took a class in ethics.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that helps you go through all the basic ethical guidelines and gave you we talked about some scenarios in which things were in the gray space and had good conversations about that.